My name is Mike. I work for a company called Vertalab. I'm a full-stack developer. First of all, disclaimer. I'm no, in any way, expert in React, nor in TypeScript. Actually, started using it quite a short period of time ago. So, this talk will be my opinions about where it's good to start. First of all, sorry.
Достань его еще раз. Ну, значит, тебе, походу, придется...
Problem with battery. So I'm going to switch from my laptop. First of all, why you as a backend developer should bother about front end? Users now expect desktop-like interactivity from web applications. You should deliver experience like Gmail, for example, for now. Otherwise, it will be a problem. More mobile devices. You have to have an API for now. You will have to support native mobile applications. And also, not the last point, is about development productivity. You cannot develop an API and a server-rendered-based application at the same time and being productive in both of them. So why React? React is fast. Anybody remembers AngularJS? You add several hundred of watchers, and your application dies. It freezes. You cannot interact with it normally. It has a nice tooling. It is simple. React is just JavaScript. React's public API consists maybe of 12 methods. You can literally learn them overnight. And it's universal. You can have mobile applications, VR application, anybody of that, using the same techniques as you use for the web development. It is stable. Anybody who dealt with Angular maybe remember the shift they done when they migrated from release candidate 4 to release candidate 5. They literally braked everything. It was a new concept called modules, new routing, and a lot of other stuff. And it's opinionated. Nobody forces you to use any kind of state library, state management library, service layer, or HTTP request library. You can bring anything. You can use Axios, you can use Fetch, you can use plain old XML HTTP request. And routing. I think it's best routing among all the client-side libraries. Angular, Vue have static routing libraries, but in React you have dynamic one. Any component can define its own child routes. Why TypeScript? TypeScript is ES7 variant with optional statical type checking. Nobody forces you to use statical type checking. You can write double dot any, and you are good to go. It has a great tooling, like editor support. Visual Studio Code, the question was asked about what editor is better. My opinion on that is Visual Studio Code is better, because it supports TypeScript out of box with Visual Studio-like experience. You can press Command click, and you go to the definition of the method. It catches a lot of errors during development, not in runtime. Yes, and type checking is done during development, again, not runtime. It does not affect the performance of the application. It's developed and supported by Microsoft. We are sure that Microsoft will not drop the TypeScript support in the nearest future. Why React and TypeScript? Again, it's got great editor support. In Angular, support of the TypeScript in templates are very limited. You cannot have IntelliSense inside templates. At least not by default settings. Gives confidence, again, sketches your error in development. Why use TypeScript if you have prop types, for example, in React? Here is example. It's React component with prop types. We have app with missing prop here. Sure, it will compile. But how about runtime? It will fail. Same thing for TypeScript. We have defined interface, and we have a React component that uses this interface. It fails on build time. It fails on editor. The Visual Studio Code will give you nice wibblies, nice underscore under this component in their source. Not hard to do. It has a default, it has a fork, there is a fork for create React apps that uses TypeScript. Pretty well maintained. This everything you need to do to start your React and TypeScript application. You're in a good company. A lot of companies use, such as Palantir, Shopify, Microsoft, RC, Grammarly. They developed their UI kits using TypeScript and React. They're very nice examples of using TypeScript and React together. Going mobile. Just mobile version of website is not enough for today. Users want native applications. With two main mobile platforms, such as Android and iOS. They are not compatible. You have to learn two different languages, such as Swift or Objective-C for iOS, and Java or Kotlin for Android. Sometimes, if you have three languages, up in three languages, web application in JavaScript, iOS application in Swift and Android application in Java, they can go out of sync. But we can do it another way. It's React Native. Yes, you can build native application in JavaScript. It uses the same components as web programming. And you can even share a code between them. So, yes, one more thing is you can do an application update without store review. So you can kind of hot push to the application without App Store review. Who faced the Apple App Store review knows what kind of pain it is. Yes, there is bad parts. There are bad parts. It's not stable. You have only basic UI parts like views, and the API is not stable enough. So what I learned about React while facing it, it's about wrapping external libraries. It's not a good thing to use the, for example, external UI kit directly in your application. It's far better just to wrap it inside your component. It will not hurt performance, but it will give you flexibility to change UI libraries. Extract business logic away from React components to make them far more testable, and it will simplify the things. It will make your React components far more testable. Yes, about container components, I think that they should not contain business logic by themselves. They should be a thin integration layer between React components, presentational components that actually draw your UI, and between the business logic objects. Again, about tools, I learned a lot of things while working with my application that tooling can give surprises. For example, when we started extracting our business logic into a reusable module, NPM module, I find out that with standard settings, create React app does not compile ES7 or ES6 or TypeScript. Just don't compile. So you have to, if you want to use NPM module, either you have to set the build process for this module, or you have to tweak create React app. What to share? Business logic can be shared. It remains almost the same, and it's the first proposed to switch to JavaScript for mobile apps. Some parts of the UI also can be shared. For example, if you have form library, inputs can be easily shared between mobile and web applications. Yes, but again, if they are coded properly. So you have different underlying components, but logical components can remain the same. Also, state management. Wherever you use for the state management, you don't use React component state for the state management. It can be shared. You have basically the same state on mobile or on web application. Yes, layouts and majority of UI components, composite UI components can be shared. You have different paradigms for the desktop application and for the mobile one. You have a lower informational density on the mobile device. Yes, tooling. Create React app plus React script TS. You can start literally in seconds. Install yarn, install create React app, run create React app, double dash, script versions, React script tests. Another thing, using modules. Nobody likes to import the components, reusable components, from the root of the application. This double dot, slash, double dot, slash, double dot. This is a way to avoid it while not going away from the standard way the create React app is working. So we have this ugly import. What can we do? Create a package folder inside source. And we move all our reusable components there. Not only components, basically, but anything you want. You init npm package there. You run yarn link inside your newly created package. You run yarn link inside your project. After that, you can import as from any npm module. Another thing I want to talk about is Docker. Docker, we use Docker a lot, both for backend applications and also for front-end development. Docker helps us to catch a lot of problems caused by different file systems on different operating systems. For example, Windows and Mac by default have case-insensitive file system. And it can use a lot of bugs. Using Docker, both for development and for production, can save you a lot of time. Here is Docker file. It's Docker file for production. We use multi-stage build. First one is an image with Node. It's used to build the application. Second one is Nginx. It's built from the Nginx image. It only purpose is to actually serve these files. Build. This is development image. It uses only Node image, and it maps the, no, actually the image does not map the volume, but the Docker Compose maps the volume. Actual Docker image only runs development server. It's source of this our base builder / development image. It installs Node.js. It uses as a base image Node.js. And it installs development dependencies. It's an Alpine-based image, pretty thin, through having all these development dependencies. So we have first to build this image, then to run this Docker Compose file that actually maps the current application directory as a volume to this image. So everything works there, including hot reloading. So whenever you save file on your local machine, and you have browser pointing to port 3000 on your local machine, Docker will reload it for you. It sees all updates. Here is how it runs. Yep, this is about tooling. Again, this same approach with module linking work also for create React Native apps, for native ones. Yes, and with Visual Studio Code. Try TypeScript with Visual Studio Code, and you will never want to come back to the old JavaScript. Everything works. A lot of packages have their typings, so you will have this nice IntelliSense function. It's like an auto-completion, pretty smart auto-completion. And Mobex. Personally, I love to use Mobex very much for local state. There's a lot of debate around the global state. The most popular opinion there is to use Redux. I think Redux is pretty overused nowadays. Everyone tries to put everything on Redux, including local form state. The Mobex is ideal for storing this local form state. You just declare observable, you use provider with name of this form object, and later you inject them into your inputs. You can have as much forms in one screen as you like. You will have to just inject another instance of that observable into your form, and you're good to go. They will live in parallel. ESLint and TSLint. Essential things for development to enforce the unified code style among the team. Because if you have 4 spaces tabs in one project and 2 spaces in another, it's a bit of problem. We enforce our ESLint, TSLint rules. Also not marked there, but another nice tool to have called Prettier. It's automatic code formatter. It can be integrated with your build system or with linter, or it can be used in editor. Visual Studio Code has nice plugin for Prettier. Oops. I wanted to have a little bit live coding here, but the library, UI library I used for it broke its build. And it's pretty late, so no live coding, sorry. Really, it shows like in component, render is not a function for one of the main UI components there. So pretty all for me. Any questions maybe?
First of all, why do you use YARN?
It's pretty fast, I suppose.
And I have questions about native JavaScript. Why people continue to use it for now? What classes it has?
You actually code the thing for 3 platforms, for web, for Android, and for iOS, using single language. When your code base is written in Swift, Java, start to diverge, you run into problems.
We have JavaScript. We have JavaScript and we have TypeScript, and the classes of TypeScript we heard, but I want to understand why all people doesn't use only TypeScript. What classes we have in native JavaScript for now?
For TypeScript, it's confidence. TypeScript gives you a confidence. On build time, you have you don't need to go to runtime to see your problems with code. That's the reason prop types was introduced in React to give you some type of confidence, it's point one, and give you some kind of documentation inside your code. So you don't have to dig into your library source to see these props needed in this component. But your editor will give you a hint on that.
Okay. How do you think why Facebook doesn't use TypeScript for now?
They don't use TypeScript because they have thing, I suppose, called flow. It's type checker for JavaScript. Pretty like the TypeScript, but not exactly.
I
They
understand.
have some notion of typings, but a lot more of packages have typings for TypeScript than that have typings for Flow.
How do you think TypeScript is it future for JavaScript or no?
I think it's present.
Thanks.
You can ask question in any language you like.
Thank you. I want to learn React. What I must know now for this, and what you can advise for start in React?
Just read through official docs. They're pretty good. And start writing. I think it's best advice. It's pretty simple. React is pretty simple. You don't have to learn some kind of templating language. You can even use React without JSX. We have this kind of create element API. You can try it in a Babel JSX. And actually, Babel IO side, there is a REPL for JavaScript. You can write JSX there, these HTML-like things that a lot of people don't understand. And you can see what code it gets transpiled to. It's React. That's the reason why you need to have React on scope if you use JSX. Because it transpiled to React create element.
Okay. Do you have some problems with TypeScript in your project when you use it in the work?
First of all, I had problems with TypeScript with injection of observables. The transpiler does not correctly recognize them. If I want to statically type to have a statical typing of the props that get injected by Mobx React library, I will run into an issue. For now, there is no simple solution for that, so I have to use this any.
Okay, thanks.
But I have limited places where these observables get injected, so it's not a problem.
Okay.
So, thank you. Somebody have a question? Okay, about if you want to learn React or something, you can try to write a book about it, and it works. So, guys, thank you, Mikhail.
Thanks.
Так, у нас традиционное. Какие вопросы тебе понравились? Ну, вопросов было немного.
Да. Особенно немного выбирать не приходится.
Давайте, ребят, кто?
Да.
Кто?
Еще вопросы? Или нет?
Еще вопросы еще есть? Давайте.
Вопросы на английском надо или на
Не, вообще нет проблем.
Окей.
No problem, it's good. Спасибо за доклад. Вопрос такой. Приходилось ли вам использовать React и CoffeeScript на каких-то проектах?
К счастью, нет. С момента появления ES6 широкого распространения я забыл о CoffeeScript как о страшном сне. Но это, по-моему, это не сложно. Есть люди, которые используют. Но зачем, да.
И еще вопрос. То есть были ли проекты, в которых приходилось делать несколько приложений? То есть не только, как вы сказали, мобильную версию, но и нативные для iOS, для...
Приходилось, да, и мы столкнулись с рядом нюансов. Хоть там под капотом для layout используется всем хорошо известный Flexbox, но каждая платформа его понимает немножко
по-своему,
по-разному.
особенности на каждой.
Да, особенности столь любимая фруктовая компания, в которой постоянно что-то прыгает. Есть такая проблема, но я думаю, что она решится в будущем.
Вопрос.
Спасибо за доклад. У меня есть два вопроса. Один, почему вы сравнивали именно с Angular и скорость работы, например, только с Angular, так как ваша основная цель доклада — это донести, что мы можем бизнес-логику разделять и в мобильном приложении, точнее, объединить бизнес-логику и в мобильном приложении, и в веб-приложении, но мы не можем на Angular сделать без прикладывания больших усилий в мобильное приложение. И почему, например, в данном случае не сравнивалось, например, с тем же Vue.js, который тоже так как бы подходит для этого. У Vue.js есть специальный фреймворк,
Да,
обертка для мобилки.
Первое, по поводу Angular, я сравнивал производительность первого Angular и стабильность второго. Ломать в цикле релиз кандидатов обратную совместимость, это, по-моему, очень некрасиво. Мы как раз хотели использовать в тот момент Angular 2, он очень был глотком свежего воздуха по сравнению с первым. И подложили нам команда разработчиков такую свинью. Ввели вот эти модули, которые непонятны никому были на тот момент.
Ну хорошо, релиз-кандидат — это как бы не итоговая версия Angular по факту это было.
Ну, она релиз-кандидат, это не альфа и даже не бета. То есть я ожидаю от релиз-кандидата, что оно будет более-менее стабильное. Да, там в мелких вещах может поломаться, но не когда у тебя компонент не находится ни в каком модуле, его система просто не видит.
Хорошо.
Да, по поводу Vue, у них поддержка нативных приложений появилась сравнительно недавно, и, по-моему, кроме Alibaba ее еще никто не использует. А React Native использует много кто.
Ну да, это
начиная с
более
самого
старое.
Фейсбука, заканчивая Artsy, заканчивая как же этот Airbnb. Очень хорошую библиотеку компонентов имеет. Мне очень понравилась последним временем организация кода у Shopify в их библиотеке для React.
Хорошо, спасибо. И второй вопрос. У нас есть проект, на котором написано мобильное приложение на React, соответственно, подобие платформы под iOS и Android. И есть некоторые JS-модули, которые просто используются в некоторой логике во время отображения какой-то информации на веб-приложении, соответственно. Ну, то есть, грубо говоря, общие модули. Но так получилось, что столкнулись с огромными проблемами именно на стороне мобильной части, потому что разные устройства и очень много разных проблем с каждым из них.
А какого типа проблемы? Проблемы с UI или проблемы с тем,
кроме
как это
UI и поддержка модулей. Ну, например, была реализована работа с камерой, и на 3 устройствах она работает, а на 2/3 не работает, соответственно.
Вообще не работает, по-моему, API
Ну,
доступа...
постоянные ошибки валятся, то есть все, как бы у нас ребята это все чинили, но это очень постоянно занимает много времени. У нас постоянно в жире валились эти баги,
К
соответственно.
этому нужно быть готовым, поскольку React Native еще недостаточно стандартизирован. Нужно быть готовым к тому, что в любой момент, возможно, придется все-таки либо брать, если есть возможность разработчика под конкретную платформу внутри команды, либо если нет такой возможности, искать его. Но 90% кода не создает проблем. То есть эту проблему нужно раз взять, решить, и она потом, можно о ней забыть.
Хорошо, у меня вопрос именно, вы сталкивались с такими проблемами и как часто?
Пока нет.
Так, спасибо за вопрос. Там еще были со второго ряда вопрос. Был? Нет? Уже передумали. Хорошо, Вов.
Okay, the last questions. What steps do we know if we want improve TypeScript in our existing native JavaScript project?
You don't have to use TypeScript for the whole application. Single flag in your TS config JSON enables you ability to use JavaScript files. So you can write it piece by piece.
Module in module,
Yeah.
Okay.
The setup I showed you, you have the settings of your project being used to transpile the thing. They are not compiled down to the JavaScript. Later on, if you want to release this module, you will have to set the build process for the module. And you will get separate JS file and separate typings file.
Okay, understand, thanks.
Так, спасибо большое. Вопросов я уже больше не вижу. Миш, все-таки, какие вопросы тебе больше всего понравились?
По поводу проблем.
Проблемы.
Проблемы — это больное место.
Так, кто у нас спрашивал про проблемы? Стас, наверное? Да, Стас. Да, вот это бери. Да, спасибо тебе. Спасибо большое. Так, и еще
по
один.
поводу, как использовать.
Так, Вова, ты сегодня и докладчик, и вопрошатель, да, ты поезд таки... Так. Поезд весь сюда. Спасибо тебе большое. Миша, тебе достается вот такой вот чудесный маскот нашей конференции. Ребята, я еще раз повторю, у нас конференции, которые организует наша компания, проходят 2 раза в год. Мы заряжаем, получается, уже на данный момент 5 конференций в течение сезона. У нас весна и осень 2 сезона. И на следующий сезон мы ищем докладчиков. Поэтому, если у вас есть желание выступить, попробовать свои силы, можете связаться с нами, можно связаться через Meetup, можно связаться через Twitter, Facebook. Можно найти меня где угодно, как угодно. Тоже можно написать мне. Я свяжу вас с организаторами непосредственно. Вот. Так что спасибо за то, что пришли. Спасибо за то, что досидели до конца.
Все.
Спасибо еще раз.